Hey, Delaware. Welcome back to another episode of That Delaware podcast. Ladies, we have Amanda back today.
Hi, guys.
We noticed that.
So
Yes.
excited.
I'm so excited to be here. It's been a
Very
long
excited.
time.
Yeah. So, as always, my weekend warriors.
We do record these podcasts on Monday, so we're always chomping at the bit to catch up about our weekends. So we're all like, save it for the podcast.
Right. Yeah. So this weekend was pretty cool because Austin got to go to her first Phillies game.
Oh, nice.
You have great
Um,
weather this weekend too.
It was really awesome weather. It was like actually like when we sat down in our seats, I think because we were just like walking around gathering stuff. And then we like sat down and like the seats, like I don't care what size you are, even if you're small, like it is so close. But especially if you're like a bigger person, I had this like big guy next to me. I'm not small. And we're just like, it's tight. So like when we sat down, it was like, it was hot, but then we cooled off and then the weather, it was perfect. Austin is 7. It was her first game. She was super excited about it. So she did really well overall. She was clapping, she was like cheering. But about halfway through, she was over it. She was like,
Yeah.
I want to go.
They're long games.
I took the kids, my boyfriend and I took the kids. It was like one of the first weekends of the actual season. And it was their first baseball game, and the weather was atrocious. It was like cold and rainy, and we had like ponchos, and they were sticking to everything. And I feel a little afraid that we might have ruined like professional sports for the kids, like seeing it live. They did get the ice cream in the hat. Did you do the ice cream in the hat?
We didn't. She wanted the big ice cream sandwich, which was like $8 plus tax. So that was cool.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
You don't get a commemorative hat.
It's like whatever. Like when you go to the Phillies game or something like that, everything is ridiculously overpriced. So you just got to be like, we're balling out today.
Yeah.
Like it just is what it is.
Yeah.
We do a lot of union games, and my girls, they like to pretend like they don't like watching sports, but they love going. And Sophia and Olivia, one time, the ball was down by where we were like on the corner, and they started a "Let's Go Union" chant, and everybody started going with them, and they were like, "We did that!"
Trendsetters.
Their first
That's
sense
awesome.
of power.
Yes.
That's so cute. Yeah, I'm embarrassed to admit this on this podcast, but not embarrassed in life. I grew up in a family of Mets fans, so
My godmother's a Mets fan.
yeah, my family's all from New York. I grew up in New Jersey, so like the people I grew up with were split, like Phillies, Mets, Yankees, and like a little Red Sox. But yeah, I used to go to Shea Stadium when I was a kid, and I never really cared about sports. I care more now than I ever have, but it's all about like the energy when you're a kid and just like being around that. And
Yeah. I went to a Phillies game one time. I was pregnant with my son, and I had the ice cream in the hat, and I fell asleep. I guess because I was pregnant. I don't know.
Yeah.
And you're in the sun, and you're just like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a little nap here. And I think I slept the majority of the game.
that sounds like pregnancy.
Exactly. I was going to say I'm not even a big nap taker, but I took so many naps pregnant.
I couldn't keep my eyes open.
Yeah.
Speaking of naps, and I am not pregnant, but this weekend I feel like is one of the last like really great pool weekends. And where my boyfriend lives now, there's a pool. And hopefully by this time next year, we'll be living somewhere different. I'll be living in a different house, and hopefully we'll be living together. But I took a 2-hour nap in a raft in a pool, and it was like the most decadent thing I've done.
And sounds amazing.
Does that feeling of like waking up in the raft with like the sun beating down and like the cold water.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I?
Yeah. It's freeing.
I'm gonna like return to that spot in like the dead of like December when everything is like stressful and freezing.
That reminds me of like every once in a while, I can take a good nap on the beach, like in the shade, either under the umbrella or when I was in Hawaii, literally best nap ever under a palm tree. We got there early and then we woke up and there were all these people surrounding us. It was like wiping drool. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Where did
What
that come
happened?
from?
At the risk of turning this into a nap podcast.
Yeah.
That reminds me of I went to the University of Delaware, and there was this big tree outside of the art building on Main Street, like across the street from Trabant. If you went to the University of Delaware or you know Newark, there's like this huge tree, And that was like my study spot. Like I felt like very productive there. I would go with like my textbooks and like literally just when I was like reading textbooks and taking notes, I would love sitting outside of his tree, especially in spring semester. And I remember one time like I like fell asleep and took a nap, and I would always like set up like a picnic blanket and stuff and have like snacks and coffees and stuff. But I remember like someone waking me up and being like, "Are you okay?" It was embarrassing. Public naps.
We should do like ASMR. Scratch the microphone. I'm down with it. So, today on the episode, we are nearing the end of summer and we are in that transition of back to school and the market shifting, things like that. So, thoughts are going through our mind like, we need to prepare for this and that. We were talking about school lunches and what are we doing there, things like that. So how are you ladies feeling with this transition coming about, and what are the things that you're thinking about?
So for me, this is the first year that I'm going to be able to take my daughter to school, which I'm excited about, but I'm also excited about doing lunches. I'm like that bento box mom. Like I want to pack her lunch. She's not a sandwich eater. Violet will not eat a ham and cheese sandwich, but she'll eat like ham like rolled up. So I like, dividing all the items in the box, and I feel like she still eats like the snacks from school too, which is fine, but I think it's important to like, make sure she has something healthy too, and I know that she likes it. Um, but I'm excited about that.
So when we were like just scratching the edge of this the other day when we came up with the idea to talk about this, and some of us were like, "Oh no, I'm not the bento box mom." And then I realized that I am
Mhm.
half the time because I
Yeah,
do have like those little boxes where like Austin's the same way. She likes like, and I'm the same way as her. Like Chris always joked, he's like, "When I'm away, you'll eat like cucumbers and pepperoni and things like
Mhm.
that." So I do have those little boxes and I like put
Yeah,
things and I try to like do a variety of like, all right, cucumbers and then
some
cookies
fruits.
and like,
Mhm.
yeah, different things. If she's not eating school lunch. And so she's very sporadic with like what she wants to eat.
Yeah,
And sometimes it's like, honey, mommy was not prepared to pack a lunch,
right.
but she's 7 and she runs the world. So she's very demanding.
Yeah, girls change their mind every week. Every week it differs about, what they want for lunch. So, and it started actually in summer camp when she went to the YMCA. They offered lunch, but it was like, cold sandwiches. It wasn't anything appealing to her. And that's when I started it. So, I mean, as long as she'll eat it, I'll pack it.
I feel like we are all elder millennials, so we're like part of like deep into charcuterie culture. So I feel
True.
our lunches that we pack probably reflect that. Like I'll do like the little snackle box
Mm-hmm.
with like some cut up salami and cut up tortillas and cucumbers. And my youngest is in pre-K and he gets lunch like through the program that he's in. But my oldest is 6, she's going into first grade. And her school actually in Brandywine School District does provide lunches, but I kind of like balance it out between like packing some days and letting her get
For
school
sure.
lunch some days. Um, but she does not eat like most standard like kid foods. Like she won't just eat like the chicken nuggets that are served in the
Mm-hmm.
cafeteria. It has to be like a certain chicken nugget. But she loves raw vegetables. So I'll do
Yeah.
like a snackle box with like
That's
a handful of
amazing.
spinach, but like no protein. I don't
Yeah.
Hold on, she'll eat a handful of spinach.
her favorite snack is just like a baggie of spinach.
I love
Like
that.
raw
Violet
spinach.
was the
That
same
is
way. She's
amazing.
always loved anything green. So if it's a green vegetable, Violet will eat it. She'll eat it raw. She'll eat it cooked, whatever.
So my son will eat
So.
any cooked vegetable. He loves like cauliflower with lemon pepper. That's like one of his favorite.
Mm.
And my daughter will only eat raw vegetables. So it's interesting. I'll always like steam broccoli and then like save half of it raw until
Yeah,
raw broccoli.
that's cool.
But
Austin eats like the raw vegetables, but the spinach thing is like
it is
that's
interesting. I've tried it. I've been like,
I
I'm just
love
gonna
it.
sit down with this bag of spinach and see how it feels to eat it and
Yeah, it's a lot of iron.
choking it down by the end. But yeah.
Yeah.
So at least that. I mean, and I know it's so hard, like with kids' nutrition. Like my old eldest is picky, my youngest isn't. But I remember doctors always saying it's not about like what they're eating in a day. Like look at it, quantify it as like what did they get in a week? They
Exactly.
eat a decent amount of protein during the week.
As long
They
as
eat
it's
vegetables
something.
like some days of the week. Then You're
Yeah.
on good track.
Because I grew up on TV dinners, kids cuisine.
Oh my God, I remember
My dad didn't cook.
with a little cosmic brownie.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the brownie that would like burn up on the edges.
Exactly. That's what we grew up on. And my dad would eat like hungry man dinner. So it was very like TV dinner kind of vibes growing up. So as long as my kids are eating fruits and vegetables, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah, here and there.
I am so stressed listening to you guys because, well, first of all, I don't pack my girls' lunches. They pack their own.
I love that.
And I packed my own lunch growing up. So, and I feel like that did give me some independence,
Yeah.
but it stresses me out when I'm planning the groceries. Like when I'm like, okay, what is everybody going to be willing to pack? Like that just stresses me out every
Yeah.
week. And it does change. They'll say that they want bananas, and one week they will eat all of the bananas in one day. And then the next week I'll buy more bananas and nobody will touch a single banana
Oh.
for the whole week, and then they'll go bad, or we
Yeah.
used to make banana bread. We don't even have time to do that right now.
Cool.
So it's just like keeping everybody happy. And my kids are the same way. I know you said Violet doesn't eat sandwiches. What is it with kids not eating sandwiches?
They will not eat a sandwich.
I ate turkey, mayo, American cheese, and shredded lettuce on bread like almost every single day for probably like 6 years of my childhood. But Kristen, one thing I like that I think your family does regularly or has done is you do like the online orders from the grocery store and you get the kids to like pick
Yes.
what
Mhm.
things they want to order.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea because it's visual. Like you can see like
Yeah.
and that way each week if it changes up. I don't know if you do that like systematically, but I think it's such a good idea.
Yeah. And I love that like they pack their own lunches, and so they're responsible like if they forget something or they told you what they wanted, but like when you get stressed out listening to us about like the little snack boxes, remember that like I'm talking about like just Austin.
Right.
But like I said, Austin will change her mind just like your girls like wanted bananas and then all of a sudden they don't. I have to deal with that times 1 and you have to deal with that times 3. Woo, girl.
Yeah. Kudos to you. You have.
Yeah, I don't
I would lose
it all
my
the
mind.
time. It's like just depends.
We don't do hot lunch at their school, so it's every day. But they do know that they're, and usually we try to get them to pack their lunch the night before and just keep it in the fridge just to save sanity the next day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With our schedule, it doesn't always work out, so there's just usually chaos in the morning while lunches are being packed, and
Sure.
somebody's eating more snacks than they're supposed to, and then somebody's eating cookies for breakfast, and I'm upstairs trying to get ready, and it's like tattling on each other. I don't know if anybody else's house is that chaos.
My kids are such rule followers that like my kids would never dream of just like going into the kitchen and like taking a snack for themselves and like not asking for permission, which is
Yeah.
like crazy to me. And I'm kind of like, that is, come on, guys, like
Mhm.
be a little
yet.
experimental, like be a little rebellious. But we went on vacation with a bunch of other families, and there were I think like 6 teenagers in the house that we were staying in.
Mhm.
And it just was like kind of like a glimpse to the future of like now it's like controlled. Like I know I'm gonna buy these snacks. I'm gonna
Yeah.
goldfish crackers on Monday after school, and I have these like fiber one bars and these cut up cucumbers that we're gonna have for like snack and then dinner. And like when they're teenagers, they just
Yeah. Wait till they're 11 and
they
12.
finish. It was crazy like how many snacks we were constantly having to bring into this house when the kids had free reign of the kitchen.
Also, I feel like they go through like the different growth spurts where like Austin will like at one point be like wanting to like snack and eat all the time. And then she's like not eating anything. Like she's not hungry.
Yeah.
So that is, yeah, it's like hard to like plan around that. But you have 3. So if one of them's not eating as much, the other one,
Somebody will make up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm laughing because just wait, because my kids snuck a whole bag of chocolate chips like you would make
Yeah.
like bake with. They snuck them in their room. And
Yeah.
they were just like eating it at night.
That is too funny.
We actually put a combo lock on our pantry door because it got so bad, especially during COVID, of like we'd be like, they were supposed to be on the like computer
Yeah.
learning, and I'd be working, and next thing I know they're in the pantry. So Matt ordered one of those locks. So they all know the code now, so it's a moot point. But
Yeah. If snacks
For
are
Robert.
readily
Yes.
available.
Yeah, I've seen families do that thing where you put out like a basket and you're like, these are all the snacks for the week. Like when they run out, then
Yeah.
that's it. Like you don't get snacks
That's
anymore.
very
You'll
cool.
get your meals still, but like these are your snacks for the week. So I wonder how that would work.
with multiples, I feel like it would be a problem. At least in my household, I feel like they would steal each other's. Like they're really into Muddy Buddy bags right now, and these are not little
That does
bags.
sound
And
good.
they're also
They're like
expensive.
they are. So they would fight over somebody took too much. They're
That is
hogging it all. So then I was like, okay, I'm buying 3 of these like semi mini Muddy Buddy bags, and we're gonna write names on it, and you don't touch anybody else's, and that's gonna get you through the week. And I don't want to hear you fighting over it, but I don't know. Solutions.
That reminds me of, do you guys remember the milk bags that we used to get in school?
Yes,
I
the
only had
square.
ones. I never had a bag.
Really?
That always
bags
sucks
never
up
made it to
bags.
New Jersey. I don't think that wasn't something that we dealt with.
So when we were younger, my brother brought home a chocolate milk bag, and my other brother drank it. And my other brother was like freaking out, like, somebody took my milk bag, drank it, whatever. And we all got punished until
course, yeah.
somebody fessed up to who drank the milk. So we're all in our rooms like crying. We're in elementary school. We're like, I didn't. And my mom used to be like, I can tell if you're lying on
Yeah.
your tongue, stick out your tongue. And we're like, like, look, it wasn't us. And then like years later, my brother Nick told us it was him.
Oh, so no one confessed?
No.
Oh my God.
So it just made me think when you're like, oh, this is theirs, this is theirs. I'm like, somebody's going to be sneaky up in there and have somebody else's shit.
Always
Yeah.
happens. It always happens that way. Or I don't know if your kids do this. My kids will bring snacks for their friends. So they're just like
Yeah.
throwing snacks in there, and they're like, well, my friend likes this one. And they, I don't know. It's just,
You're like, tell your mom's friend to Venmo me. Okay.
we just go through snacks so early. And I'm like, guys, you need to pace yourself because I'm not going back to the grocery store like
Yeah.
until Saturday.
Like a
So-
whole bag of tortilla chips and a jar of salsa. My son will finish that in one day, in one sitting. But he's also 6 feet tall.
He's a
30
boy. Yeah.
He eats out of the house and home. A girlfriend of mine, she has 4 kids and she spends over $600 a week in groceries.
When my sister-in-law talks about what she spends, or like my friend Leanna, like
It's crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that one kid was a good decision. It gets crazy. So, I think that was good. Like it's like a variety, right? And like nobody should feel any shame.
Yeah.
Listen,
You're doing great. If
It's
I
not
had 3
shame, it's
not shame,
stress.
but like yeah,
Sheer stress all the time.
yeah. Well, thinking about what to eat is super stressful. Even like as myself, as an adult, I can go and get whatever I want to eat, but
It's still hard to make those.
it's hard to make the decision.
And also, on top of all of that, teaching your children to inherently make like sound nutritional choices.
Right.
There's a lot of pressure, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
based on the way that we were raised in the 90s, like I remember I was getting thrown like a Slim Fast can in
Mhm.
my lunchbox.
Which is
like
so crazy
it's
to me.
it's crazy.
Special K, do you remember?
Yeah.
That had
I
us all.
I saw a meme that was like, remember when Special K invented a new diet and it was all based on the premise of just eating Special K? And like the milk industry, like we were getting ads,
Yeah.
drink milk, not any product, just milk in general. So,
Yeah.
All these
we
poor
were-
people that were lactose intolerant.
so
Got milk.
the nutritional messaging we were getting as kids didn't really set us up for success, I feel like, in kind of understanding. But I feel like as a generation, millennials
Yeah.
done a ton of research on how to feed ourselves and what works for our bodies as individuals, and also but also
still stressed out about it.
how to educate our kids. I mean, we're doing the best we can
Right,
with what we
right.
have.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that what we have is better than what our parents had in
Absolutely.
terms of information.
Yeah.
But it is very hard to teach your kids, like, listen to your body. If you're eating the lunch I packed you and then buying ice cream and like snack cakes, and then you feel like horrible afterwards, like pay attention to that and know that like
Yeah.
we're gonna all work to make better choices.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
it's just on top of the actually having to figure out what to serve and how to finance it.
Yeah.
How to
true.
finance the grocery.
Speaking of financing the groceries,
Oh, what a good segue. Speaking of financing, how's that real estate market?
how's your business
transitioning?
going, guys?
You know, we got to sprinkle it in. I feel like everybody's always curious about like the transition of the real estate market from summer to fall and fall to winter and, you know, so on and so forth. And I think a big misconception is that when summer is over, it's like not a good time to sell. Um, but the fall market is still a good market. And as like we talk about all the time, it depends where you're at, in what county, in what neighborhood, what condition is the house. Like,
I
how do we want to roll into this?
Well, historically, our team has had our best quarters in quarter three and quarter four. So we really ramp up this time of year. And then I can tell you, I worked all weekend. Like I did not stop. I feel like every client, every buyer client, every seller client that I had in my entire pipeline needed something this weekend. So I feel like
Yeah.
people are starting to think about selling, think about buying, making a move. I don't think it was I don't even know what it was that sparked it, but it was just all of a sudden because we did go through a slow point.
So I was gonna say we were just talking about like what's going on. Like we're feeling a shift. We're feeling buyers not be as aggressive, not
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
motivated. Like I had multiple listings recently that went under contract in a weekend. But did I receive multiple offers? No.
Right. Yeah.
Like I received one good offer. Um or the one we got before it even went active. But also I have listings in other counties and like Sussex, I knew it was slow. But then once we put the house on the market, more inventory just keeps coming.
Mhm.
So it's like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's like discussing how doctors discuss, right? Like here's your symptoms, here's my recommendation. This is how this medication could go. This is how this medication could go. But we have to actually do the thing and figure it out once it's trial and error.
Yeah.
But just put our best foot forward and it's kind of like real estate, right? And it's different depending on where you're at. Um I don't know.
I would say for sellers right now, let's not aim for 50 offers. If you get a good offer, do not hold on and just wait it out and keep waiting for that better offer because it's probably not coming. I think the days of, at least right now, the days of let's put it on and then let's wait through the weekend may not serve you because we're finding a lot of buyers don't want to, they're not tolerating it.
Mm-mm.
So they might write an offer on Thursday, and if you don't get back to them by Monday, they're out.
Yeah.
They're no longer interested. They feel disrespected by the sellers. And we've been in that market for a couple years now.
Mhm.
Honestly, it feels like 5 years that we have been in this like high,
Mhm.
fast-paced sellers market. And based on the inventory levels, like month supply of inventory, we're still in a seller's market, but the buyers are no longer tolerating.
Exactly. I had a situation this weekend where we had a buyer and my seller wanted to wait, to the end of the weekend because other showings were scheduled, which, in the last few years that would have been okay, but we had the buyer leave. They said we're not waiting. There are other houses that we can, get for this price and we are withdrawing our offer. So it kind of like set the tone for my seller. Okay, let's accept an offer that is reasonable and,
Yeah, if you have a good offer, like there's no reason to wait in that situation when you have already, taken a little bit more time to see if you get an offer.
right.
If you have a good offer. Now, it's different if like you have like a decent offer or not a great
Yeah.
offer,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to push my client to accept this
Lackluster.
half-ass offer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just not I will always do what's the best for my clients. So if it's not a good offer, we're going to wait. If we have showing scheduled, we're going to wait.
Mhm.
But like you said, you worked all weekend. I worked all weekend as well. Friday night we went to a comedy show and I was like negotiating in the hallway. I kept like walking out. And the property just went on the market that day. And Saturday they were going to have an open house. And my clients, they get anxiety about waiting. They don't want to wait the weekend. They're like, we put our best foot forward
Yeah.
and we're going to, offer this. And they put a deadline. And I usually don't recommend that you go with a deadline because it can put a bad taste in the seller's mouth. And sometimes, my recommendation is if they really want the house, then they'll wait. But it is a little bit different right now, and it depends on the offer. They put a great offer in, we negotiated it, and we're under contract. So,
Awesome.
I will say this, and I think that a lot of agents have forgotten how we used to do real estate prior to COVID. But if you get an offer and it's not where your sellers want, we counter.
Mm-hmm.
You respond, you counter them, and then you meet in the middle or you don't meet in the middle. But while you're waiting for those other offers to come in, you're negotiating.
exactly.
You're keeping them in line with you and you are moving forward like we're going to get there. And then, hey, if you don't get there and you get another offer, fantastic. That's
Yeah.
great. But we're not just leaving people on ice because I brought the buyers just a couple weeks ago, and we wrote a full price offer on this house, and that seller was waiting for a cash offer that they thought was coming in. It never came in. By the time that they were willing to accept our offer, my people were no longer interested. So it's just like, and it was a full price offer. Really, there was no point in them countering us. We were giving them everything they wanted. There was no reason to wait.
That's another thing too. I feel like we're starting to see the shift that we may not be getting over asking every time we list a property. Like the offers that I received for the listing that I have now, they're either asking or below. So I think the over asking we might start to fizzle.
I think that the overarching theme is just managing expectations for our seller clients
Yeah.
and our buyer clients, and just kind of like going into the process knowing that we're in a shift,
Mm-hmm.
that things might not be the way that you experienced it the last time you bought or sold a house, and they might not be the way things were when your neighbor sold their house.
Right.
But
Yeah. And so it's interesting. The buyers that I had this weekend who saw the house on Friday, we had a conversation about that because they lost out on homes before this one, and they're like, I feel like this one's gonna go like crazy above. And I was like, I don't really think so. However, there is an exception to the rule. And here's the thing, and I storytelling is super important. And so that I shared with them the story about the Claymont house. My seller wanted to price higher than my recommendation, and we did. We didn't price as high, but we priced higher. And the reason why they got that asking price is because it was the neighbor's sister. And they initially came in lower. We ended up negotiating higher, negotiating better terms, and it sold for that. But we had no other offers, right? We had no other offers. And the only reason it sold for that is because that buyer specifically wanted to live in that house. And so that can happen whether the sister lives next door, the mother lives down the street. They need to be in that location specifically for, radius to work. And that's the only neighborhood that has that type of house. Like there are different scenarios where people will go above asking.
Yeah.
and that same weekend that you had that listing, I had a listing come on, and my sellers had a price in mind that they wanted, and I let them know that things were shifting and we might not be getting like as many offers as we would have gotten a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But we did get one really strong offer come in. It was above asking. The terms were great, and they put in an escalation clause that escalated the offer like far, far, far above the price that we listed for, and the price even that my sellers really were aiming for. Because these buyers were positive that there was going to be a bidding war. This was like a very desirable home in an area that tends to get a lot of offers, but we just got that one offer, and so they were shocked when we didn't have to activate their escalation clause.
That's interesting.
And that is also a good point, and it's something that I remind all of my sellers is we don't need multiple offers.
Right.
We
One
can
good one.
only accept one offer.
Right.
We just need one good offer.
Yeah.
And it's not just about price. It's about who's the lender, because we're not going to accept a contract just to fall out of contract. Who's the lender? What terms are put in place?
The contingencies that are or aren't there
Mm-hmm.
make a difference. So.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that in any shifting market, there are, like you said, exceptions, and it's very uncertain. And not everybody is quite on the same page when we are shifting, because some people are still expecting it to be like it was.
That mindset.
Some people are forward thinking. I had a house that we were supposed to take buyers through last Friday. Somebody got in there with a sight unseen offer. It was off the market immediately. So when it is a shifting market, it is very uncertain. That is just the overarching theme. Is we
Right.
can't predict what's going to happen. You just have to understand where your comfort level is, and don't play around if you're a seller, and don't play around if you're a buyer and you really want the house. Listen
be
to your
ready.
agent, and hopefully it will all work out. But again, we can't predict anything because it's a shift.
Yeah.
Just
And
don't know.
another conversation that I had this weekend is, they were trying to like time interest rates. Like they feel like interest rates are going to be coming down with all the talk and everything going on. And they very well can. But what I told them is, they wanted a settlement date further out. And I'm like, they're not going to like that. I already know it's the property's vacant. Like, let's move it up. And here's the thing, like we shouldn't haggle over a date for what could be a better interest rate, because I'll tell you right now, if those interest rates drop,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
And we're going to be back at multiple offers over asking for a lot more houses than there are now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great fall, guys.
And that's what we've
It's
got
going
to
to be
say
a great
about
fall.
And use a local lender.
Yes.
Yeah. Just align yourself with professionals in our industry that you trust, whether it's us or someone else that you've thoroughly vetted and know the quality of their work.
Yeah. And a good point to that is a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people feel like this obviously is a very intimate thing. And so maybe they don't want to use somebody like a family member or somebody that they're that close to, because they feel like, oh my God, they're going to know my finances, or they're going to know this and that. Like, trust me, we don't mess with your finances. That's totally the lender. But if that's you, or if you're out there and you're moving somewhere else in the United States or Puerto Rico, wherever, like we have relationships with agents all across the country, and we can vet someone for you to make sure that you have a good experience with an agent, whether it's here in Delaware or anywhere.
Yeah. We have really high standards. So
We do.
if you want us to apply our high standards to your agent search, let us know.
Yeah.
We're happy to help. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in to That Delaware podcast. We will catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of That Delaware Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at That Delaware Podcast, and our team page at @RosayoTeam_real estate. And of course, if you have any real estate or Delaware questions, feel free to reach out.